so here we are, just a few days short of Charlottesville and the Unite the Right event.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
very
about,
exciting.
oh yeah, it's very exciting. We're about 2 days away. Well, 3 days away as of this recording, but it'll be 2 days by the time this is out. So, alright, we have. Well, we started with like 5 people in our group that were going, and now it's just down to one.
Yeah.
Such is
Uh,
life.
it's Goff, GF, and KA, right?
I don't think K is going because he has court issues.
Uh,
Yeah, he mentioned something in the Facebook chat. Yeah, but the person who has now renamed himself Big Boss is going. And that's going to be pretty much it. And I think old Big Boss is going to be with a group of other people, Identity Europa and possibly Vanguard. We'll see. So, Lee Park.
yeah.
Looks like big stuff going down.
I guess we could start by explaining basically what the Unite the Right rally is for anybody that isn't aware of it.
Yeah, it's a defense of the monument for one, and an attempt to set differences aside for a greater cause. So
Yeah,
basically the alt right and the alt right are welcome. So
I just hope it goes well. I mean, the last thing we need on the right is any fighting.
yeah, yeah. Basically,
Uh,
part of the goal is to end all the infighting and push towards a common goal.
yeah. Did you hear? I think it was actually breaking news either today or yesterday about the ACLU was threatening to sue the city of Charlottesville.
Yes, the ACLU is on our side on this one. Very surprising. Very surprising. Or maybe it's not that surprising. Come to think that maybe they smell blood in the water and they think they might get some money out of this.
Oh yeah, and they're picking up a lot of cases as well from other prominent right um, right speakers.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, um, and quite a few others.
Yeah, I shared a link about it into another right leaning group, and one guy said that the ACLU is basically lawful evil,
Yeah.
evil bastards, but consistent evil bastards.
Yeah. They might not like us, but at least they like free speech.
Yeah, they definitely are consistent in that regard, so that's good. And I mean, it's just what they're doing, what the city is doing, what other groups are doing, are just basically flat out violations of the civil rights of these speakers. So it's an open shut case.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people. There's particularly one specific issue they're going after is they're going after college campuses because they're censoring speeches and opinions from conservatives.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. I know. I think. Nah, this is a separate issue, but yeah, I think the Trump administration, or at the very least, the Attorney General's office is probably, well, the Justice Department. I think they're probably going to be going after colleges for discriminating against white students during
Yeah,
admissions.
yeah.
That wouldn't be Trump.
As we
That would,
know,
huh?
yeah.
It wouldn't
I was
be.
gonna say yeah because as we know, it's it's actually quite ironic, but it's really hard to be white in today's society. You know, it seems like if you're white, you're guilty of something.
No, yeah.
Uh, and I'm particularly paying attention to the cases on conservatives speaking on campuses because like I said in the last time we got together on the podcast that I come from a very liberal college and there's basically no references, like no acceptable, no tolerance for conservative viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
me, for example, I consider myself on the right conservatively, and for example, there's a lot of times where I'm getting to debate with other students or professors at my college because I feel like, my opinion, because I'm a conservative, that, they don't, it's not held to the same respect and merit as more of the liberal people on the campus.
Yes, they support diversity of well, what do they support diversity of? Diversity of skin
Skin
color,
color,
yeah, skin color,
as long as long
diversity,
as long as it's not pale,
yeah, diversity of hair color, diversity of
you
hair
have
color.
to have yeah, you have to have melanin.
Oh yeah, and you also have to have a very diverse sexuality as well.
Oh yeah, you can't just be straight. No, no, you gotta be
Gotta be.
gendered and all that shit.
Oh yeah,
Oh man, fucking weird time to be alive.
very crazy time to be alive indeed. These people just flat out do not support diversity of ideas. Um, yeah, it's basically
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Uh, they it's either you support and accept their narrative, or you're a racist, homophobic, misogynist, evil white supremacist.
Yeah,
I always find that funny how white supremacy always somehow is somehow a part of any argument, even when that argument has nothing to do with white supremacy.
yeah. The term itself doesn't mean much of anything. There was a time where it did
Yeah,
mean something.
yeah,
Uh, both as a negative concept and as something not so negative, but an actual phenomenon. And that was, I believe, that was during the Reconstruction era of the South, when white militia groups and white Democrats were desperately trying to regain power that they'd lost after the Civil War. And I believe, and this kind of loops right back around to the monuments, because there was a monument down there in New Orleans that was removed, and it was commemorating a battle between a white militia group and a black militia group, I think. And it basically mentioned white supremacy
yeah.
in its
Uh,
original sense.
yeah. It goes back to the saying. I don't know if you've heard of this saying that when you use a word too often, it starts to lose its meaning.
Like racist and sexist and all that. Yeah. It
Yeah,
just,
I
yeah.
would say that, and it's ironic because, I've come across people, who actually do have, kind of racist beliefs. But, the difference between them and the people who claim to be fighting it is that, I'm able to actually have, constructive dialogue with the so-called racists.
Yeah.
You know, actually, during the last rally I went to in New York, it was a one of those typical anti-Trump, anti-Pence rallies, and
Hmm.
Identity Europa was there, and I actually got to talk to a couple of them. We actually hung out for a bit, ironically.
Yeah, I think maybe Big Boss might have mentioned this. I'm not sure. Was Big Boss there?
I'm not sure. I didn't personally get any of their names.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you, it was a group of white guys with the quote unquote fash cut,
Mm-hmm.
looking quite dapper. But yeah, I was actually able to like talk to them, hear their views, and we were actually able to, have a constructive talk and come to agreement about the whole refugee crisis and how this new agenda of diversity is thought and reasons they want. They it's basically diversity is equaling white genocide.
Yeah.
You
Diversity
know,
fundamentally just means less white people.
yeah, exactly. And I always tell people, look at the countries and where they're pushing for diversity. Only in white countries, Europe, Australia, Canada, and the United States. When was the last time you heard anybody say diversity is Nigeria's strength or open borders for China? You don't hear about that because they don't really care about diversity. They care about making whites a minority in their countries that their ancestors built.
Yeah. Yeah, and that kind of links right back up with one of the battle cries of Identity Europa, and also more or less the slogan of the upcoming event, and that is, "You will not replace us,"
Hmm.
which is
And that's
twofold.
basically,
Which is a
yeah,
twofold meaning. One, you're not going to do it, and two, you can't, even if you quote unquote succeed. You fundamentally cannot create something exactly like white people. You never will be able to do that. Human
yeah,
beings are not
and,
interchangeable cogs in a machine like that. Can't just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and basically, it's actually funny because I'm sure you've heard of the term cave beast when minorities refer to whites.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Cave beast with tails.
yeah, yeah, y'all was in caves and shit,
we taught
and
y'all
I'm
to
just thinking,
we taught y'all how to bathe.
yeah, and I'm like, for a group of cave people, they really became quite technologically advanced,
Well, we stole all of that, you see.
Yeah, that's all the things that white people have accomplished. That's quite impressive for cave beasts.
Neanderthals.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, which isn't actually a bad thing to have Neanderthal DNA.
Yeah,
They think it is. I don't know.
yeah, and it's not me picking on blacks, but it really says like how I don't want to say how like uncreative your race is, but like it really says a lot when supposedly cave beasts and freaks of nature are able to accomplish a lot more in history and build more stable societies than supposedly kings and queens.
Yeah. Oh man, I honestly don't know why they cling to Egypt the way they do, though. That's just
Yeah,
Egypt wasn't even like the greatest empire ever. It was it's pretty average.
yeah, and even now, I never understood how like sub-Saharan Africans can claim Egyptian history when there's a lot of scientific evidence that show that a majority of the Egyptians were actually people of Arab and coastal European descent.
Yeah, I think I was mentioned before, probably in a previous podcast. I'm not really sure what their ancestry was, but it was definitely not white. It wasn't Arab. It was something, and it was very different from what's currently there. I think the Coptic Christians are the closest to the original. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Coptic Christians in Egypt are probably closest to the original Egyptians.
yeah,
I think, anyway.
but yeah, and but yeah, going back to the Unite the Right rally, I really hope that that we're able to like come to a mutual understanding within the right. The last thing we need is infighting.
Yes.
Especially now where we should be focused on consolidating power within the branches of government.
Yeah, and I'm currently reading the article from the Daily Stormer, well, at least I'm scanning through it to find the important information. Charlottesville, why you must attend and what to bring and what not to bring. Fundamentally, why should you go? Pretty much the only reason you really need the 14 words. We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. Right there. Boom. And what to bring and what not to bring. No long guns. No knives. No mask. All these are apparently not permitted. No tasers. Or if they are permitted, it's probably still advisable not to bring them anyway. No
Yeah,
tasers.
I've been told that Virginia has an extremely high incarceration rate.
Yeah, what was it, like 97%?
Yeah, And
Yeah.
considering how like the media likes to characterize the rest, I'm pretty sure the cops would, be more. They I don't want to say motivated, but they would be forced to like target us more so for arrest.
Yeah. To my understanding, the chief of police and other officers there are willing to cooperate with the Unite the Right event, and they're also aware that the violence, primarily all the threats of violence and the likelihood of violence, is coming from the left side and not the right side, and that's who they're going to be targeting.
Yeah, I heard. I heard that Antifa were coming up with some battle tactics. In particular, how they were going to fill water bottles with cement.
Yeah, and you think about that.
Yeah,
Why would you create something to hit people with that they can just pick up and throw right back at you? Seems like a really bad strategy.
and going back to that list of what to and to not bring. If I had gone, I had wanted to bring my gas mask with me, but I'm guessing that would have been a no go.
Yeah, I think that was. I think that would be considered just a regular mask as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
obviously no tasers and no handguns as well. Well, I think I think you are permitted to have handguns, but no. Well, I mean, they encourage you not to anyway.
Okay.
Hmm.
Doesn't I thought Virginia had a stands your ground law.
They probably do, but given that this is a very complicated situation,
Yeah.
I mean, if you do
So
wind up
damn well,
pulling, if you do wind up actually
I would.
shooting somebody, it's going to be a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Um. What else? Yeah. And I always find it funny that law enforcement is usually on the side of the right. Like for example, in New York, at a lot of the rallies, the police officers are on the right wing side. I know in particular, during the last event I went to, the police officers were in particular looking out for me because I was ready to stomp some commie skulls. I don't know if you ever heard about this part. It was me, Goff, DF, and a couple of, and I think KA was there too. Yeah, he was. He was one of the people there. And Identity Europa, we were there, and we had split from the main rally because it was towards the end. We were walking around. I think it was Central Park, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And we came across this group of Antifa. So got in a shouting match, shoving matches, and there was this one guy in particular who seemed to be focusing on me because I'm the only mulatto in a group of white people.
Yeah. Imagine that
So
made him pretty angry.
oh yeah, I've had people call me house nigger, so
Yeah.
I can tell you. And once again, it's ironic that the group who claims to be fighting against racism is quick to use racial slurs against me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So got into a shoving match, and police officers separated us. And one of the police officers, I think he was like the head police officer there, he was like, "Look, I don't want you fighting because I don't want to have to arrest you. These guys are idiots. They're just looking to cause trouble and they're looking for attention."
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, "All right, you're right. We won't cause any trouble." And I did not get shot because I complied. Yeah. So yeah, law enforcement is on our side because we respect them. They see what we see out there.
Yeah.
So big thumbs up to them.
Yeah, and
So
have you seen them at the rallies? Are they facing you guys or are they facing Antifa?
yeah.
No, I mean, are they?
Uh,
At your rallies that
what
you've been to?
happened?
Hello?
What did you say?
Whenever you're at these rallies, are the cops facing you guys or the Antifa?
They more so support us. They don't publicly show it, they don't give us preference, but they try to stay as neutral as possible. But usually when tempers flare up, they're more so on our side.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah. So I highly encourage for the right at the Unite the Right rally to respect the officers, don't give them any trouble, because when shit hits the fan and shouts come to blows, they're most likely going to be on our side, and we should keep that balance.
Yeah, most def. Also, another thing here, very important. Pepper spray is permitted, but it's better to get bring a pepper gel. It's much more accurate. It sprays in a stream, etc., etc. Main reason why it's better to get this type of pepper spray is because you can only use it in self-defense, obviously, but if you hit another person, like a bystander, with that pepper spray, you could be arrested for assault on a bystander. Kind of risky.
Yeah. In particular, I heard there was going to be a lot of big, well-known right-wing speakers there. I heard Augustus Invictus was one of them.
Oh yeah.
Richard Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Big Stick Man is going to be there.
I think he's just going to be like security or something. I don't think he has a speaking role,
Yeah.
but he is going to be there undoubtedly.
I know Proud Boys is going to be there.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if Oath Keepers is there.
I would hope not. They'd probably just join with
Yeah.
Antifa.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have a love-hate relationship with Oath Keepers.
some of the chapters are okay. Some of them aren't
Yeah.
okay. It really depends on who's
Like-
running it.
Yeah, like the New York City Oath Keepers, I have like a love-hate relationship because they really they kind of like gave my group the short end of the stick. In particular, one of the groups that we affiliate with, that this group affiliates with, I won't name them for their security and stuff. But yeah, we had gone to an event. This is the same event. They didn't want us there because they thought that we were violent and that we caused trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, all right, for the next event, we won't show up. Let's see how good you guys do on your own. So the next event goes there. It was a rally in front of it was a pro-Trump rally in front of Trump Towers. Only about 10 to 15 people showed up. And yeah, only 10 to 15. And so they hit up the group on Facebook, and they actually had a live stream. They had one of their members live stream,
Mm-hmm.
and basically saying, "Oh, we have to stick together. We're sorry for excluding you guys, because the group we're with, we're a majority of young people,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like the youthful generations are the ones that are high energy, and we get people coming out there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're like, oh, we're sorry, we need you guys out there, and we're like, yeah, we hear you. So we show up. We actually we promoted the event, and it was at this rally where there was like 200, 300 people that showed up, and that just goes to show you that this is a movement for the youth and for future generations. It's time to hand over that old vanguard and let the children of the West lead the front.
Yeah. The millennials and the Generation Zyklon are going to have to take the lead very soon.
Yeah.
Oh.
I fucking love that. I love that name, Generation Cyclone.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And it sucks because I missed that generation by a couple of years.
I'm firmly in the millennial camp, apparently. Some more things here, very important. Flagpoles and flags. Yes. Shields. This is important, super important. There's going to be a shield wall because the communists are going to be throwing bricks, and as you mentioned earlier, the bottle is filled with cement. So yeah, there's a company that makes them. Some guys down in Texas make it. Of course, I'm going to be linking the Charlottesville article from the Daily Stormer on the video because it's got a lot of important information. Um, the show
Did
doesn't.
you hear about the latest ADL hit piece?
Latest ADL hit piece.
Yeah, where they basically named a bunch of right wingers. You know, their newest hit piece.
Oh, I think we mentioned that. Yeah, we did mention that in about two podcasts ago.
Yeah.
I didn't get to discuss
Uh,
everything about it though. I did want to mention one very important thing about that article because Golf GF and I didn't really get to the point of it, and the point is that we all want to wound up on this list one day.
oh yeah, definitely. I trust me. I want to get on that list.
It's a source of it's an honor to get on that list. We really need to get there.
Yeah. Even if you aren't a anti-Semitic, you know that's a life goal you should always have.
Mm-hmm.
To,
Ooh.
to have the to have the chosen people consider you a threat.
Oh yeah. Oh, ooh, here's something very great, and I think a lot of people are really gonna like to hear this. Tiki torches. There's going to be a torchlight ceremony, just like the first Charlottesville event. Yeah.
Oh wow, very diverse.
Oh yeah. Tiki torches. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun though, from what I've heard.
Is that a independent event, or is that like something the right or Antifa is doing?
The Tiki Torches, no, that's for Unite the Right. They're going to be there late in the afternoon, so um,
Oh,
yeah, I'm
they're,
not
they're,
actually not really sure
they're,
what time it'll be, but I know it's going to be like just imagine like 1,000 guys
I
out
can
there with Tiki Torches.
I'm already picturing it on Vice News and BuzzFeed right now.
Oh
They're gonna
God,
say
they're
that
going to
tiki
be
torch,
so upset.
they're going to say that the tiki torches are one of those KKK lighting the crosses on fire.
Oh yeah, it's just like what happened with the first Charlottesville event. Basically, Richard Spencer was on Facebook's top trending thing for like a whole day or two, just because of that tiki torch thing. And now they're doing another one, so you know it's going to be even longer. The whole country's
Was
going to
that
be
the?
talking about it.
I heard it was one. I think we're talking about the same one, but there was an article where basically it was BuzzFeed advice. They were saying that it was a white supremacist torch visual, where basically it was a group of people who had torches and like they were walking, right?
Hmm.
So Vice said that that was like a white supremacist torch visual, only to find out that it wasn't a torch visual. What had happened was it was in a rural area, and since there were no street lights, people just lit torches on fire to light the way to see where to go.
Talk about paranoia.
Oh yeah, and you see the other shit they're pushing on Vice, freaking all this whole children should be able to choose which gender they are. Um, this whole fat acceptance movement.
Vice
It's
is
kind of ironic.
Vice is completely
Yeah,
fucked. I don't even know what to say about
yeah,
Vice.
yeah. And it's a shame. And it's a shame because I used to like Vice a little bit,
I heard they were.
especially
I heard they had a lot of promise in the beginning.
yeah, because Gavin used to be a part of it. He was one of the co-founders of it,
Yeah.
and and I especially like their articles where they would go to like other countries and basically like inform people of what's going on here, and they completely chilled out and threw that out the window.
Hmm.
So talk about fat acceptance and why you should eat your wife's fucking period and shit.
Oh man.
It's just completely. I have not seen a group like a supposed news group, just completely fucking destroy themselves.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Is Vice gonna be going down at some point? They have to fall apart at
I
some point.
I hope so. I freaking hope so because it's just ridiculous. This whole you know when I was growing up, this whole gender this whole gender, third gender, trans and shit. That used to be called gender dysphoria, and that was a mental illness,
Yeah,
and it still is to me.
it is. I mean,
You
if
know,
anything, this whole transgender acceptance, the way they're approaching it, is probably making things worse for transgender people.
yeah. To me, it's like the whole gays versus fags debate.
Yeah.
Where gays are just they're homosexual people, but they don't put their whole sexuality out there. They don't have to go around letting people know that they're gay. They just live life.
Yeah.
Whereas you have fags who are the attention-seeking ones, who they have to make everything about being gay. You know, and I understand. They say that oh, we just want greater representation. You make up less than like what is it 3-4% of the population. You have to understand that your lifestyle isn't going to be in the mainstream because you're not the majority.
Hmm.
And it goes back to demographics. Like when black people, for example, say that a lot of hair care products are marketed towards white people. Yeah, that's because America is a majority white.
Yeah.
When if you're a business owner, you're going to sell your product to the majority demographic. You're not going to sell it to a small niche of the population.
Yeah, that reminds me. Have you ever heard of That does remind me of something from this thing called the knapsack of white privilege, and it lists like 50 privileges that white people supposedly benefit from, and this is from like the 80s, some old article, and one of those privileges is apparently flesh-colored band-aids.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh, my band-aid doesn't match the color of my skin. This is so intolerant.
when have they matched the color of someone's skin?
Yeah, exactly.
They don't match
When I,
mine.
when I yeah, when I go into my medicine cabinet to get a band-aid, my intention is to cover up a cut. I don't stop myself and say, wait a minute, this band-aid is lighter than me.
Yeah.
Like, who honestly gives a fuck?
Yeah.
They also make band-aids with little designs on them. Like when you take a kid to get their shots, they'll give a band-aid that's like blue. It'll have puppies on them, or lollipops and shit. Are they gonna start targeting that next?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I just find it incredible how there are people who can literally wake up in the morning and say, "Gee, I wonder how I can be oppressed today."
Yeah.
It's just fucking ridiculous. When I wake up in the morning, first off, I can't even think for like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm still in a fucking daze.
Oh yeah,
It's
I'm the
just
same.
ridiculous.
Oh man. Speaking of things going down, it's goingdown.org had their Patreon shut down, and it's goingdown.org, by the way, is an Antifa site. It's their anarchist website, and I'm pretty sure it's the main one at the very least. They had their Patreon shut down because they were advocating violence. So, how about that?
Uh, I'm, I'm actually surprised the people at Patreon actually did anything about it.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising. You'd think they would just be like, "Oh, we're gonna ignore that," but no, no.
Yeah. You know, uh, they took down Lauren Southern's Patreon.
Uh-huh.
That got me. That really rustled my kidney.
I mean,
I don't like to see the love of my life upset.
earlier, some guy on Facebook went all the way. I can't remember his name, but he went all the way back through her videos and found the oldest video that she posted. And it was some goofy nonsense.
Oh yeah, and see that's what they have to do. They have to take things from like months to years in the past to fucking flag and shit.
No, I mean like they were just goofing around, and he went and found that video. And he was
Backlash.
like, he was like,
Hear about the incident with Google?
the incident. Oh yeah, the guy getting fired
Yeah,
for
the guy getting fired because apparently what he said was intolerant towards gender and it was racist. Well, first off, what the guy said, one of the things he said was that here at Google we don't support, any racism, but at the same time we should support differing opinions. So that's what they said was racist. That the guy supported, you know, diversity of thought.
Yeah, it was also
And
sexist.
then,
It was also sexist, and the reason it's funny because he basically just said the reason he said there's so many problems at Google's offices and whatnot, and their business and whatnot, is because they don't tolerate diversity of opinions. It's like what we were talking about earlier, diversity of ideas, and
yeah,
of course he shares his idea anonymously, and he gets fired for it. So just kind of proving his point.
he showed it anonymously, and Google still fucking found out it was him. Which goes to show you that Google is spying on us.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they most certainly are. That's why you should use DuckDuckGo instead of Google above all else, because
Yeah.
they don't collect your information.
Yeah, and then they said he was sexist because he made a comment saying that women don't usually do well in high stress environments,
Yeah,
which isn't sexist because it's true.
it's very true. In fact, from what I've read, a lot of women took off work because they were so upset about what he said.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, how dare you say women can't function in high stress environments? I'm going to take the day off because you really stressed me out.
Yeah,
Like, you know?
just proving his point. Just
Yeah.
proves his point.
So, but good news is he is going to sue.
Oh, good. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he is going to sue. I'm not sure if the ACLU is also going to take up his case as well, but I do know that he is going to sue.
I mean, we really
So
need
that's-
to hit back at these people as hard as we can on all legal fronts, and that's what we're going to be doing. That's what the alt-right is planning to do. They are currently building a coalition of lawyers. They are, it's working with the ACLU as well, and they're going to go after people big time. That's
We started it by with these businesses where we refused to give them our money,
Yeah.
and that really hit their pockets. A couple of businesses, Kellogg's, they said how they don't support Trump and all that. So we said, fine, you don't got to support him, but you're not getting any of our money.
Yeah.
I believe their stock went down. What was it? 20, 30 points.
I'm not
And
sure.
then they issued an apology or something.
I can't remember when that
Yeah.
was. Was that back during the election or?
Yeah, it was during the inauguration, actually. I think it was one of the first companies to actually feel the impact of what virtue signaling does. And then there was another one where a certain brand, I think it was Nordstrom, where they refused to sell any clothing made by Melania Trump.
I think it was Ivanka.
Clothing,
Yeah.
Ivanka,
Yeah, it was Ivanka, I think.
maybe.
Yeah.
And her stock skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So we need to hit them in the pockets, and we need to hit them in court.
Oh yeah. And we have the legal precedent to do that. A while back, Spencer went to go speak at a college in Alabama. I think it was Auburn University, and they denied him the ability to speak a day before the event. And here's what he did. He got his lawyer. He went to court immediately, and he sued because this is a violation of the law. This is known as heckler's veto, because according to the university, there was terroristic threats, but it's their duty to protect the university, as well as Spencer and all the students, from these threats. They're not supposed to cave to them. It's called heckler's veto. So they took him to court, and they won immediately that day, the very day of the speech, and he went and gave a speech. There's two things there. This is absolutely hilarious. The heckler's veto was designed to enable communists to go and speak at universities, because people were stopping the communists from speaking at universities via heckler's veto and threats and whatnot. So one, a law helping communists is now helping our side, or that was designed to help communists is now helping our side. And two, no mask laws. they were designed to counter the Ku Klux Klan, are now helping our side.
Definitely. And
Use their laws against them. That's what we gotta do.
yeah, definitely. And in effect, it also proves how hypocritical these college campuses are. They claim that they're there to help people grow intellectually and to expand their horizons. But as soon as they disagree with something, they're like, shut it down, shut it down.
Shut it down, guy.
Yeah. And speaking about communists, did you know that one of the most popular books on college campuses is the Communist Manifesto?
Of course.
As a matter of fact, my political science teacher a semester ago, he gave us that book. He gave us some excerpts to read from the manifesto. And, he was really trying to like sell it, like, well, you see, so Karl Marx's ideas, they were good in theory, and maybe one day they can work out someday. I was like, no, they will never work. And then he's like, well, why don't you think they work? And I said, for the simple reason that no intelligent human being is going to produce large amounts of labor for small rewards.
Oh crap. Oh yeah. Exactly.
Why would I work 19 hours in a factory just so some dude who works 4 hours makes the same amount as me?
Yeah.
And we're both still poor,
Yeah, I guess the idea being that you pulled all your resources into the commons, but ultimately, to me, it just feels like work wouldn't be very rewarding. I mean, some people are going to be working harder than others because some fields are less hard than others, and therefore, I don't know. Like, and then, like in a communist society, eventually you're gonna get automation or something. So then you end up with a lot of people who aren't gonna have work, and that's going to be the majority of the population because eventually it's going to reach a point where we hit an IQ ball, and only the people with certain level of IQ that can handle information technology, maintenance for this automation, doctors, lawyers, things like that. It requires a certain level of intelligence. The average person can't do it. You have to be kind of within 110, 100, like at least 110 and above. I mean, that's going to be a lot of people that are out that can't work. So what do we do with these people?
Yeah.
What you do is you just basically give them a living wage. You provide everything for them, but now you have a bunch of people that are working. What happens with them? And to me, it seems like those people would somehow find a way to become the people in charge, and thus a hierarchy forms. And once a hierarchy forms, it's no longer a stateless society, even if there is officially no state. So boom, I mean, that's the end of communism.
Yeah. There's always going to be somebody in charge.
Yeah, even if it's a council or something, and that's usually what they have is like a workers' council, a local community council, and that's fine because that's very horizontal. But as soon as it gets another layer, and it eventually at some point, maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years, maybe it'll work out for a while, and then someday somebody rises to the top. It is inevitable. Hierarchy is natural. It's also inevitable, as it's just said. It's just going to happen at some point.
Yep. The only outcome to communism is fucking starvation and mass killings.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And a lot of people like to say, well, how many people have died under capitalism? Capitalism doesn't advocate for the killing of people who don't participate in the economy.
Right.
Whereas where communism is, where you don't want to work, okay, we'll just kill you or we'll put you in a labor camp, and we'll exile you. Where under capitalism, you actually have the choice. You don't want to work, okay, you don't got to work. You'll just be poor or homeless on the street.
Yeah.
And that's a common argument I get from communists. And then once I use that line, they're like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," which I always find it funny because whenever you beat a leftist in a debate, it's always, "Oh, you're just blind. You don't know what you're talking about." I'm like,
yeah, that's how they always are.
Yeah. So switching over to domestic policy, did you hear about Trump's new proposed immigration reform?
Oh yes, the Raise Act.
Yeah.
It's
For
a
those
step in
not
the right
familiar,
direction, but personally, I support a full blown moratorium on immigration, where it's just that's it, no more.
now remember, Goyam, we don't want a fascist government.
Oh yeah.
But basically, for those that are listening and they're not familiar with it, it's very similar to the Australian point immigration system,
hmm
whereas you have to have certain qualifications to be eligible for immigration status. One of those being you must know English. There is no more. Okay, Paco, you can come in. Oh, sí, gracias, señor. No more of that.
No more cheap labor. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, yeah, no more of that. I believe you also can't have a criminal record.
Right.
You can't have any gang affiliation.
Most importantly, full blown. You have to be extremely influential. I mean, not influential. I mean, fluent. Extremely fluent in English.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many times I get pissed off going to a fucking local McDonald's or some shit, and I gotta fucking repeat my order 3 times to a dude standing 2 feet in front of me.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, yeah. And what else is there? I believe you have to have a certain level of education as well.
Yeah.
So no more cheap labor. You can't just come in saying, "Oh, I'll work out. I'll pick some lettuce or something." No more of that. You actually have to have a skill set.
Oh yeah. For example, they're definitely looking for people with specific degrees in certain professions, doctors, people like that, engineers, really talented people. Basically, it's going to be extremely difficult for the average person to make it through.
Yeah. Which is how that should be for not just the United States but for everywhere.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be easy. A lot of people think that being able to go to another country is a right. That's not a right. It's a privilege.
But don't you know about the Statue of Liberty law of the land?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the law that doesn't apply.
Oh yeah, that little
Yeah.
plaque that needs to be sandblasted off the side of that thing.
Yeah.
Give us your
Uh,
tire and your poor so that they'll shit in our streets.
It's actually funny that you bring that up because that reminds me of a White House briefing where there's this new guy. I forgot who he is. I think he's the new Secretary of Press, I believe.
I know who you're talking about, Stephen Miller. He's not the. I don't think he's
Yeah.
the new press secretary. I think he's been there for a while. He's an advisor to
Yeah.
Trump, I believe, but he's
Yeah.
been there for a while, and he. I don't know, but let's just put it this way: he has really good college friends with Richard Spencer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they were
Oh, yeah.
college friends back at Duke
No
University.
wonder. No wonder. Now that you bring that up, it was just earlier today. I was looking at a Now This video.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I don't follow it religiously. It just pops up on my news feed.
Was it
But,
the one
it-
where it starts where he's like talking about torture?
No. This one was about how apparently Stephen Miller is somehow he's been fighting against minorities all his life.
Oh yeah, since high school, that little speech he gave. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's always amazing how these people are able to pull this stuff up,
Mm-hmm.
right? As soon as they can push a narrative. Oh, what's that? You don't let in unskilled immigrants. Okay, let's pull up this video of you giving a speech in high school.
It's
You
pretty,
know, man.
it's pretty amazing.
But going back to the White House briefing, I believe it was Jim Acosta from CNN. He was bringing up this bullshit about how the United States has always had this model of accepting everybody, regardless of their education level, regardless of their skill set. And Stephen Miller was like, listen, since the beginning of time, the United States has had quotas. For
Yeah.
you to care now, is complete and utter bullshit. Because we've been doing it like this. We've been more extreme than this in the past.
Oh
So for
yeah.
you to have, you know, for you
prior to
to have an
19
issue,
Yeah, prior to 1965, it was literally Europeans only for the most part.
yeah. And even for the Europeans, though, it was severely limited. I
Yeah.
believe during there was a period of time, I believe during like the early 1900s, where Eastern Europeans, only about 20,000 immigrants from Eastern Europe were allowed in for, a year.
Yeah.
And I just find it so like condescending, because you know how like a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, if you don't let in immigrants, who's gonna clean your toilets and make your beds?" And I find it so condescending that people think that's all immigrants are good at. That out of all the immigrants that can possibly come to the United States, that's what they're best at.
I remember something, I think it was on that show, The View. Some woman was like talking to Donald Trump. She was speaking to Donald Trump, like indirectly, because he obviously wasn't there, but she was speaking to the camera. And, and she was, I believe this is either during the beginning of his campaign or during the election, I'm not sure. She was talking on the show and she said, "Well, Donald Trump," and I'm kind of paraphrasing here. She was like, "Well, Donald Trump, if you get rid of all these immigrants, what who's gonna clean your bathrooms, right?" And then everybody immediately respond, like her co-host and whatnot. I'm not sure who they were. I think it was like Whoopi Goldberg and all
Yeah,
these
they're
other
like,
people sitting around her, and they were like, "Hey, wait a second, what do you mean by that?" And she's like, "But you know what I mean, right?" And she starts kind of
yeah, it's
panicking.
always, I didn't mean it like that. I love immigrants. You're there like, what the? That's like if somebody said, "Oh, you don't want to let black people in America? Who's gonna play
It was gonna clean the
for real?
toilets.
That's what you think black people are capable of?"
Yeah.
You
it's
know,
it's
and
that
it just,
white
yeah,
liberal cosmopolitans who just don't.
yeah,
Who
yeah. It's like that. It's so condescending, and it just goes to show you how like they're like so far off the fucking they're just bonkers. Like they really think that immigrants, all immigrants are just these helpless, that they basically need their hand held at every turn. And I'm like, a lot of them can do for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh man, we are hitting 52 minutes. No, 53 minutes. Nice. That's a solid hour. Um, Golf GF mentioned in a separate area somewhere over here that yeah, because I asked in the main chat if anybody wanted to join in. The golf GF is like, unless it's at 11, but that's in about 30 minutes y'all's time.
Yeah, we're gonna be done by then.
Yeah, we're gonna be done in a few minutes because we're hitting an hour, and I don't think we usually do anything above an hour. Well, then again, I listen to podcasts that go like 2 hours, but we're pretty much done with the topic and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of good topics discussed today.
it was good to talk about it.
Yeah.
Charlottesville, 2 days. 2
Yeah,
days.
2 days. Like I said earlier, I hope that we can unite the right and stop this infighting. And oh, that reminds me, I wanted to have like a little 5-minute discussion on the tire gate.
Tiregate?
Yeah,
Oh,
with
yeah,
Laura.
okay.
Oh man. So, for those not familiar with it, Laura Loomer, she works for Rebel Media. She's a self-proclaimed right-wing Trump supporter. Supposedly, you know, uh, she's Jewish. She's a Juden. And basically, there was this incident where she's been doxxed in the past. So, by Antifa. So they have her phone number, her address. And this recent incident, supposedly her tires got slashed. So, immediately she got quite a lot of sympathy from right wingers. Oh, this proves left wing hate and stuff like that. And then a lot of people were, and then like a lot of people were saying, "Well, wait a minute, those slashes are they look kind of funny.
Yeah.
They look kind of weird. For people who haven't seen the picture, it's like three shallow slashes. You know, kind of like somebody stuck the tire in and like they had to like chisel their way through the tire.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people are saying is that considering that her tires are ancient, and
They're
that
like 6 or 7 years
probably
old.
yeah, she probably just drove on a curb, and I forgot what it's called. I think it's called impact something, impact rock maybe.
Maybe.
But basically that's what people are saying. And apparently a lot of people are confirming that she's a bad driver. But she's sticking with her story. She's saying how she had a mechanic and a police officer confirm that it was slashes. Uh, she said that she had a police report confirming this. I've yet to see the police report. Uh, I figured I'd give her more time on that because police reports do kind of take a little while to file.
Yeah. But I personally, I honestly think it was just her tires were old, and she's obviously very paranoid right now, given that she's been doxxed. So maybe she knew, maybe she didn't know. It's entirely possible either way.
Yeah. Uh, you know, uh, you know. I'm sticking pretty neutral on it. I'm gonna wait to see evidence, but because last thing I want is to be subverted by the Jew.
But did you?
I was having a conversation with a friend of ours, and I was saying, I kind of feel bad for Luna. She's got a lot of shit. And he was like, no, don't fall for the subversion. You know.
Yeah, don't fall for that nigga. I think that was me though that said that.
Uh, no, as a matter of fact, it was Guy.
Oh, it was a guy. Okay.
Yeah, I think we both said it. Like he said it, and like you agreed with me.
Yeah. she's being, she's doing what she usually does. What she do. All right.
And then apparently there was like this GoFundMe.
Oh, did she start a GoFundMe?
Yeah, I don't know if it was her or like it was a friend of her. I remember seeing he posted a tweet, and basically they were asking for 15 grand to replace the tires.
To replace a tire. Okay, now.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is not for 15 grand to replace tires.
Well, she's gonna need to replace all 4 of those tires because those are ancient tires.
Yeah, they're not just gonna give you 3. You gotta replace all of them, and even then, that's not 15 grand.
Yeah, that's not 15 grand. I think it's a little. I don't even think that's a grand. Yeah.
Yeah, 15 grand. You could buy yourself a new used car, which now that I think about it, that's what she probably is gonna do.
Oh yeah. I mean, my car out there is a replacement car for. My car outside is a replacement car for a car that I was in an accident with a couple of months back, and yeah, it was about 10,000 for my new car.
Yeah, so that's that. I went on Daily Star, they have the memes, which were fucking brutal.
No, yeah, they were pretty brutal.
Oh man, but so yeah, that's that. That's basically everything I wanted to cover.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got pretty much everything. We are hitting 59 minutes.
But
It's been a lot. Finally glad to get this out though. All right. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and put an end to it. All right.
Thank you for having me. A lot of fun to be back on.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next time we can get more people on, like 2 or 3 other people. I wonder if that would like go over an hour into like 2 hours. Holy crap!
We should make that a podcast special.
Oh yeah, that should definitely be a special. was hoping this one would be as special because it's like 2 days before Charlottesville, and that's going to be a historic event. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so this is Dilly signing off, and see you in the week.